Okay, I think that we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm so happy that you are joining us today. If you can hear me and you can see us, can you just please give me a thumbs up or just say yes in the commentary box so that we know that you are here? I'm going to start off tonight. Again, I'm going to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your womb and close your eyes. And just take a few deep breaths just to drop into your breath, drop into your body. And as you're breathing, I would like for you to just start off by giving gratitude to your womb space. And I invite you to, as you breathe, send your sister or your mother or any woman figure who's played a significant role in your upbringing. And as you feel this gratitude moving through you, just stay in this breath. I also want to extend my gratitude for each one of you who are part of this. So grateful to have you here. Thank you for hearing the call. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I'm a holistic healing practitioner, a retreats coordinator, and a womb healer. I've created this group because I myself have struggled for many years with problems with my menstrual cycle, and I really wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and share this knowledge and wisdom that I've gained upon the years. And with that, I'm also bringing in other sisters and women who is familiar with this specific topic to empower you. So I'm drawing us a card today from the Keepers of the Light. And the card that I drew for us today is Charity, Contemplation. So I'll read a little bit out of the book. I do oracle readings every day for myself. I feel like this is such a great tool to really inspire you for moving forward in your life. Perhaps there's some decisions that you need to make. And so I'm really just doing this to give you some inspiration for your week and insight if there's anything that perhaps you need some confirmation on. And the card read as following. The powerful Archangel Charity is drawing close to you at this time because she has recognized that you have goodness in your heart and that you have to put others first. She brings you thanks and support and move into prayer and meditation with regard to any decisions that you have to make at this time. You are being guided to take the time to breathe and receive. Know that you will have the real surge of intuition when the time is to move forward. Thank you, angels, for guiding you towards your heart into the space within you. So that's our card for today. I'm really excited to have my sister here with me today, Emelie. Welcome, Emelie.
Hi.
I would just like to introduce Emelie. She's a young yoga teacher therapist whose mission is to spark a deeper conversation between beings and their bodies. She holds space specifically for women to come into sync with their unique rhythm within the greater rhythm. Through her own reprogramming, she discovered her passion for the profound and the potent energies that contribute to the power that lies in the essence of menstruation. I'm so grateful and honored to have you here, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Tish. Tish and I got to really know each other well when we worked together creating a yoga program for Envision Festival, and she immediately became a dear, dear sister and a very valuable reflection for me. And it's a lot of the work that she's been doing that has inspired me to continue and to create tools, tangible, very tangible, palpable tools for us as women to not only join together in ceremony and in sisterhood, but to be able to have tools when we're alone and we're not with our sisters and to feel powerful out in the world. Yeah, so thank you. I'm honored.
I'm so happy to have you here, my friend. So maybe you can start off by sharing with us a little bit about mysticism and menstruation and what that is and how you created this and how you wish to bring that forward into
Taking a couple moments. So this is not only my first time sharing about mysticism and menstruation. I'm so excited. This is also my first live transmission. So a lot of firsts for me, and I am feeling especially vulnerable, but I see a lot of value and hold vulnerability with a lot of valor. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity to be vulnerable and to share what has been very healing for me. Mysticism and menstruation is exactly that. It is they're tangible tools for reclaiming your power. And the content that has been coming through are ones that are based on a society of women that have been put on hormonal birth control since they were very young. I myself got my cycle when I was 15 and was only in my own rhythm, which is still so new and hard to get to know, for 2 months before I was put on hormonal birth control. And, you know, if you're here with us right now, then you have begun or are continuing to step into your power. So you know how frustrating it can be when you're denied that knowing. And not that hormonal birth control will deny you from knowing. There are so many ways to know yourself and your cycle and your rhythm. But for me, as a young woman, it did exactly that. I wasn't in a deeper conversation with myself, and I wasn't in a deeper conversation with myself, my rhythm, amongst and in the greater rhythm. I would experience very manic states prior to when I would bleed. And it wasn't until I started to know the 4 phases, which we'll get to in a little bit, that I was able to reflect and just bless my little 15-year-old heart for being so open and so sensitive and so in tune, but not having the language and not having the information and the awareness around what was actually occurring in my body on a biological level, on a hormonal level, on a chemical level. And for a long time, I was under the impression that something was wrong with me. And it is through my journey of re-dialoguing and creating new verbiage around what is wrong and recognizing that all of these explosive, seemingly manic states that I would experience in my young menstrual years, really young menstrual years, was actually my gift, and where my power, my true power, was really hidden. So mysticism and menstruation is about really not only claiming your power on a subtle energetic level, but also very much on a physical level. And so a couple of tools that I offer or to, if you are using tampons, to suggest and offer the invitation to get a menstrual cup. There are a lot of brands out there. I still use the Diva cup. It's great. I like that it's silicone and clear, so that way I can actually see my blood. You know, I remove the cup from my womb and I can see it. I can smell it, and I can, to be totally honest, one of the tools I offer is I will pour my blood over my left hand and ask to receive the messages in which I am to learn from and grow from. And another tool that I have just recently become comfortable, and I mentioned before with my reprogramming, is to actually adorn myself with my blood. So if it feels authentic to dot your third eye, I found a lot of release in just in wearing it on my face. I've also found a lot of healing and a lot of connection to myself and my ancestors, specifically the grandmothers and the grandmothers of the grandmothers, over my heart. And in the program and the content that I've been creating, I also offer meditations to meet your womb tree and different breathing exercises that can help drop any sort of nerves or fears that come up as barriers when it comes to these more physically involved practices with your blood. Because I myself experienced a lot of, I don't want to say guilt or shame. It wasn't guilt or shame, but it was a lot of, that's weird. That's really weird. And these voices still happen. And so through these breathing exercises, it allows the nervous system to drop, and it allows you to be with what you're feeling naturally called to do, with which isn't always the way that we're used to existing. And so it can take some time and some pushing through barriers of nerves, anxiety, fear, however you want to talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can also share a little bit on how we collecting our blood. I was using the Diva Cup for over 5 years, and very recently my body started to reject the Diva Cup.
I've been hearing that lately.
Yeah. So I did some research on that, and then I found the beautiful sea sponge, which I'm totally in love with. It's a sponge, and it's not as like sometimes the Diva Cup for me was a little bit too big, and I struggled with it. But the sea sponge literally pops in very easily, absorbs urine. You obviously need to cleanse it out, but you can also collect your blood and offer it back to the earth. And I can highly recommend the sea sponge. I'm also going to offer my as a gift, and in there it gives you sites where you can actually buy these either Diva Cups or sponges and things like that. So the next thing I wanted us to move on to a little bit more is the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. If you could maybe elaborate a little bit more for us on that.
Yeah. So the 4 phases, as per Miranda Gray, who is one of Tish's teachers and who I hope to soon be one of mine. I've been working through her book, Red Moon, for quite a while now, and that is the catalyst for this work and this content coming through. And so the first phase is the virgin or the maiden, whichever verbiage feels good for you. I am all about one of the mantras I say to myself, and what I offer Mysticism and Menstruation is be present with what is occurring now, what is true for me, because that truth shifts and changes, especially with the powerful rhythm of yourself. And so if the virgin feels good for you, or if the maiden feels good for you, whatever. And that is the first week after you bleed, where energy levels are high and the creative juices are flowing, and you are excited and you're inspired and just really ready to take it on, and to also give. We have this infinite abundance to just give and receive, and the creativity is really quite a vortex, and can be it can be great and exhilarating, and is the space that I work in and carve out space to do my work in. And the next phase is the mother, which is when we're ovulating. And that's typically when a different type of creative juice is flowing. That is, when our bodies biologically are opening, and pheromonically, if that's even a word, hormonally are opening up to procreate. So there's a lot of arousal that happens during this time in our menstrual cycle. The world is seemingly turning us on, which is great. And it's a great energy to be able to know and know it well and have a safe container around it, because, one of the cons of being just completely turned on by the world is that there can be this uncontained sexual energy about you, and you could be attracting things or people per se in your life that really aren't in service. So being aware of that energy and creating a safe container around it can allow you to harness it as power, as energy, as sustainable energy. And the next phase is the enchantress. And this is, they're all my favorite, but this is one that I particularly have begun to appreciate much more now in my life, in the past year of my life, than I ever have before. This is the PMS, which, if that verbiage works well for you. I personally choose not to use that verbiage, but these symptoms are a byproduct of not honoring what is true. And what is true typically during this time is that if we're receiving our extra sensory reality is heightened to the extreme. And, this is when a lot of times women will experience clairvoyance or telepathy or real, actual empathy. And this is the magic space. This is the mystic space. This is the space where we can really tune in to what is happening on the astral plane. And it's an opportunity to be a bridge between these planes and integrate it into our beings, and then also integrate it into the earth and also with our sisters. This is the enchantress phase is a very potent time. And then there's the crone. The crone is when we bleed. The crone is the shedding of our womb. It is when we are releasing the lessons and the experiences of the past month. And it is a time to rest. It's a time to be in your nest or a nest. It's a time to let yourself be. You know, one of our teachers says to let yourself lounge like a lioness and give yourself permission to just be, you know, and in whatever way, fashion, or form that takes, allow yourself to be in it. And yeah, the crone, depending on which tradition you follow, can either be the very end of the cycle or the very beginning. I count my cycle from the first day I bleed is day one. And so those are the those are the 4 phases.
Very exciting. My favorite phase is definitely the virgin phase, which I'm in right now. And it's I just love it. It's, you know, giving me that opportunity to see my own strengths and really tapping into my creativity, really honoring. And definitely the enchantress phase has changed for me over the years as well, where I would see it as really bad or depressing. Now I'm really like tapping into it and listening to my body and just coming to a space of realizing that our menstrual pains are here to help us, you know, and we see it as such a bad thing, but we always want to like put pills in our mouth and trying to suppress the pain. But you really tap into that pain and you can connect with it and really ask what it is here to show you, to teach you. And you can take tinctures and you can drink teas, you can do all these things to help alleviate the pain, but it doesn't necessarily need to be something bad. So I really like what you share there, Emelie. And so when Enz is talking about, you know, our teacher, I've studied, and she also studies with Miranda Gray, which is a woman who started a whole community of women wanting to heal their wombs. And I'll share with you the website as well if you wanted to check that out. She has 4 yearly free womb healing transmissions that you can be part of. So the next thing I would like us to dive in a little deeper into is the actual taboo of menstruation. Emelie, I'd love to hear your input on this because this has been a major topic and it's definitely coming to the forefront now. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Miranda Gray does a really great job of sharing mythic folk tales, folklores around menstruation and how they've been presented and echoed really throughout eternity. And it started biblically with the tale of Adam and Eve. And she ate from the tree of life and then began her menstruation, which made her impure. And so I think that, and this is totally my opinion, a lot of the taboos is rooted in major dogmas of the world. And I feel like as a whole, as a society, we are liberating ourselves from those restraints while still honoring what is really true and what the essence of these dogmas are here to teach us, but liberating ourselves from the preconceived notions. And so myself, I come from a very small Catholic conservative community in South Louisiana. And when I got my menstrual cycle, I didn't even have a conversation about it. I hadn't even had a conversation about it with anyone. I knew what was happening, but I didn't really know what was happening. And I felt a lot of shame around my cycle. I was too embarrassed to even talk to my mom about it. I was experiencing so much physical pain in my body, but I was just too embarrassed to have a conversation and ask for help. And so I think that there's a lot of taboo around when women actually get their first blood. And it traditionally, indigenously, has been celebrated forever. I mean, a woman's first blood was held as the most sacred. They would wear it proudly on their face, on their bodies, and the the older medicine women and the male shamans of tribes would also adorn themselves with it. And it was a celebration of life and a coming into the deeper knowing and the deeper mysteries that are held within menstruation. And then, think about the constant pro-life, pro-choice that is staring at us in the face right now, and has been for quite a while. Things like abortion. Women experience abortion, and I'm just going to be totally vulnerable here. I myself, when I was 22, had one and was so ashamed and hid for so long and felt like I had nobody I could really speak to about it because I was just so guilty. And through opening up and sharing, thanks, sister, through opening up and sharing with more sisters, I realized that more women have also gone through that experience. And so what I really, really feel called to offer in mysticism and menstruation is support through the things, with the things that you feel shame or guilt around, and really just putting it out there. There's nothing to hide. We're here to love each other. We're here to support each other. And the more vulnerable we can be with where we're at in our cycle, then the less we have to hold and the less we have to hide. And I think that menstruation as a whole used to be so taboo. Even just talking about it. We started to wear tampons because we wanted to completely hide the fact that we were bleeding in the first place. And if you look at some of the commercials that are on, regular, normal television, it's been so long since that's been a thing for me. But, so one of the commercials is wear white on your period. And I'm just like, what? Like, of course, wear whatever color you want to wear on your period. So, a part of shifting that in mysticism menstruation is wearing red when you're bleeding, having a talisman that you wear perhaps around your neck. This is mine. I'd love to show you all.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Garnet. Thanks. Yeah. And just owning it and claiming it and being excited about it too. It doesn't have to be this air or pride. It's more of just, I'm excited to be a woman and I'm here to celebrate it, not hide.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's so true. I met up with another girl who's also as China. They actually have these little gadgets for people to hide their tampons and their pads in a certain way that nobody can even know, so that when they go to the bath, it's so horrible what it's turning into. But then on the other end of the spectrum, what I'm offering and teaching women and teaching mothers as well is to share the rite of passage. So when the children start to have their menstruation, to really call it as a celebration and bring them in and talk about it and freely open it into the community and the house, and really making them feel like it's the beginning of a new cycle. And I also encourage women that's going through their menopause and they stop bleeding to have a rite of passage for that as well. These are things that we have forgotten a long time ago. With what's happening, it's really coming back into place. So really excited for that. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to just touch base on real quick is a little bit share with our group is Yoni steaming, and what that is and what the benefits are, and if someone's never even heard of it, maybe we can just give them a little bit of idea of what that is.
Yeah. I had my first Yoni steam a month ago, and I hadn't heard of it prior to. And awesome, Lucy. Yay. Thank you. Beautiful. I had my first Yoni steam about a month ago, and I was at a Korean spa, and I watched myself go through the old patternings of oh, that's weird. And then I breathed, took a breath through that and was like, okay, so one of my mantras is go to the areas of resistance, do it, go do it. You had, so I did. And I'm someone who has a Yoni egg practice, and I wasn't practicing then, but a part of what has come up for me during that practice is the same thing that started to come up for me with the Yoni steam. And it was this, I felt like I was traveling back in time, and I had this clearing, just total clearing energetic experience from my womb. And I could smell mugwort and I could smell rose. And through those smellings, I felt like my breath and my experience was, and if you guys haven't noticed, I'm pretty ethereal with my experiences of life. So I hope you don't mind. And it was just this total clearing. It just felt super clear. And I had been traveling for a long time, and my pelvic floor, I hadn't been as in touch with my pelvic floor as I normally am, practicing different Mula Bandha exercises. And it just brought me back to what is true and what means a lot to me to continue to cultivate. So it was almost as though the steam itself cleared, any sort of energetic or metaphorical cobwebs and allowed my yoni, my womb, to speak to me. And
how beautiful.
Yeah.
Love that. Is that, I actually wrote a blog post today that I'll share with our group, but just a few other things that the yoni steam helps with is also fertility and validation. And so it's an overall good thing. They recommended to do it at least twice a year. And so, yeah, I can highly recommend it. And I myself have tried it. It's definitely been something that is a release. And I felt like this renewal within my yoni. I was also doing a lot of cord cutting with old partners while I was doing it. Experience. I feel like it's been an internal detox for me. That's what it is for me.
And just my yoni looked really pretty after. Whatever. But I'm someone who looks at myself quite often. I was like, yeah, girl, sparkle.
You got it. That's such a beautiful practice too. If we could just take the time to really just put a mirror and look at our yonis and really honoring and appreciating that was new for me here. And I came to like it and see how it is in different ways and how it look in different ways, with hair, without hair, all these kinds of things. And then what I did was I tried to actually make art. So I would look at my yoni and try to draw my yoni, because that's also a very creative practice. So yeah, I can really as well. So yeah, really love it. Highly recommend it. And in my blog post today, I shared about yoni steams and what it's about and how to use it and where to do it. So I think in this stage, you can probably find a therapist or someone that can do it for you for around $50 to $100. But it's super easy to do it for yourself too, if you can just get the herbs. And if you can't find the herbs, you can also use certain teas that will help with the steeping and the steam as well. So yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to share with us, Em, before we end off?
Just want to express gratitude again. This content that has been coming through is in large part due to inspiration from our sisters like Tish, from my own personal work, my own personal journey, and connection with spirit. I would like to offer and emphasize carving out, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, to check in with yourself all the time. The emphasis and the essence of the content that I'm feeling so called to offer is to be true. Be true to you. What is my truth? What is true now? And how can I move forward based off of this truth, from this place of truth? And
that's so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I love you so much. Thank you for taking the time. I know that you from weddings to festivals and working, so thank you so much for just dropping in and being super grounded and holding the space for us and sharing your wisdom and your story. Thank you for being vulnerable, sister. I see you and I honor you, and I'm so grateful. And thank you for everybody who's here and who's going to watch this video. We're so excited to share this news with you and this information. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a direct message or ask us on the group. And yeah, I hope that you have a beautiful evening. Thank you for checking in. Namaste. Yeah.